Hello, everyone. Welcome to Durrett's Take. Now that the NFL games have come and passed, it's time to go over my takeaways from each game. And remember, what I'm doing is I have a headliner that I kind of take away from each game, and then go do a quick in-depth analysis of how each game went, in my opinion. So let's get started with the Thursday night football game between the Vikings and Eagles. The headline is Eagles winning swiftly. The Eagles' passing game was very hit or miss, and the coaching staff decided to just run the ball constantly, and DeAndre Swift did his job with 175 yards and a touchdown. The team had 259 rushing yards overall. That can work against bad defenses like Minnesota, but against good ones, this run philosophy cannot. You're not going to just run the ball for 259 yards with the 49ers, the Cowboys, or the Jets, or whoever. So eventually the Eagles' passing offense will need to get back on track if they want to have a number one seed again. And they also got lucky that the Vikings had 4 turnovers this game. Extremely lucky. Raiders versus Bills. Jimmy G couldn't hide from the Bills Mafia. The Bills' good defensive line continued to get pressure on Jimmy G all afternoon, which led to some bad throws and not a lot of explosive plays besides the first drive of the game. For Bills fans, it's a good bounce back game, after what happened on Monday Night Football against the Jets. Ravens versus Bengals. Another year, another 0-2 start. 2 years in a row now, the Bengals start 0-2. This time around, it's more concerning. Because for one, your 0-2 start this year is against divisional opponents, unlike last year. So that's the first problem. The second problem is since these defense is not playing as good as it has the past couple years, they're not playing well right now. And that's concerning because the Cincinnati offense is still going through some struggles, where it's the O-line or Burrow not being 100%, and now he re-aggravated his calf injury from training camp, and he might be out this Monday, so it's just not good for the Bengals. There's still a tiny bit of hope this team can figure it out like they did last year, but with the AFC being so good, there is some doubts about whether they'll make the playoffs or not. Chiefs versus Jags. Chiefs still own Jags. And a game where the Jags, they've been playing the Chiefs well recently, but they want to get over the hump and show that, hey, we can be the top guys in the AFC. It's like, nope, Chiefs are still better, and they avoided the 0-2 start. And in my opinion, it's good for the Jags to show that, hey, they're playing really good defense the first 2 weeks, because they're going to need that going forward whenever the offense is hit or miss. But yeah, the Chiefs, the defense just looks like the best defense they've had in the past 5 years. The Chiefs offense, while scoring 17 points, still not great. They show some signs of improvement, and I think they'll get better as the season goes on. Chargers versus Titans. There is no D in Brandon. 1 week, week 1, the Chargers defense is awful, but you're going against Miami explosive offense. Now, you shouldn't still give up, video game-like numbers to them, but it's like, okay, what are you going to do against Titans offense that's severely run-heavy, and Tannehill's definitely not Tua. They did nothing. Tannehill completed 83% of his passes. And Tannehill, who threw 3 picks in week 1 against the Saints, and had nothing going in the passing game, looked like an all-star. That's a problem for Brandon Staley, who is a defensive-minded coach, that the defense is not looking good once again. They play the Vikings, who I know are 0-2, but they got a good offense. And so, again, that'll be another test for the Chargers defense to see if they can answer the bell this time. Justin Herbert can't play savior every single week. Packers versus Falcons. When it counts, no Love to be found. Love threw for 3 touchdowns, which is good, but only had 25 pass attempts and only completed 56% of those. And didn't throw for over 200 yards again. Then with the game on the line, he couldn't deliver a drive to field goal range. This shows that against bad teams like Chicago last week, Love can look awesome. A good run game, offensive line blocking, good scheming, all that. But against, good teams, or at least teams on the same level as you, which clearly Atlanta is, then you can only do so much. Against early on in the season, Love can, learn from this and, and also get better in that regard. But again, I'm not trusting Love in a clutch situation right now. And the coaches clearly don't trust him either, since they were calling ultra-conservative plays for him. Seahawks versus Lions. Seahawks are talking to America. That's what the ref said to Geno Smith when he was trying to deliver, the call to the audience. But the Seahawks down both right tackle and left tackle, goes into Detroit and makes the Lions defense look like they did last year, which is not good. And if Seahawks can continue to win games despite injuries, and they can continue to make good teams look, bad on defense like they did the Lions, okay, then the Seahawks can make the playoffs again, and maybe down the road they could be interesting. Maybe that's still a big if. But at least it shows, okay, hey, week one, just a fluke, we're back on track. Colts versus Texans. Steichen to the future. Richardson was playing well until he got concussed, but even with Minshew went in, the offense was still just fine. I know they faced Houston, but this team is showing signs that, not this year, obviously, but in the years to come, they may be able to be relevant as long as Richardson can be healthy going forward, because Steichen is doing his part to make the offense be better. Bears versus Bucks. Field of nightmares. Justin Fields still has some wow plays here and there, but once again, his inaccuracy from the pocket is an issue, and his slow reading is an issue from the pocket as well. As he has 2 picks, he can't complete over 6%. This may be the year. Last year, Fields is Bears starting QB, in all honesty. And sadly, it appears the nightmare won't be over anytime soon. Giants versus Cardinals. There is a giant problem. Now, a lot of people are looking at the positives of this game for the Giants about, oh, hey, they fought back and won. It's like, well, first of all, against Arizona, you should not be down by 20 plus them. That just should not happen. And then, towards the end of the game, Saquon Barkley got injured. He's going to be out for at least 3 weeks. So, I wouldn't call that, hey, we should be celebrating. Yes, you got the win, but consider this a moral defeat, and your problems look like they still are not fixed going forward. Yes, you beat Cardinals, but what you're going to do against better teams. 49ers versus Rams. Welcome to the Puka Bazooka show. It was one thing to go off in week one, when no one was expecting it, but to go off in week two against a great 49ers defense is an eye-opener. Puka Nacua, the rookie wide receiver out of BYU, had 15 receptions for 147 yards. This is after he went 10 receptions for 119 yards last week. To have him, and Tutu Atwell, and then obviously when Cooper comes back, that would be a great trio right there. The Rams would be more of an interesting watch this year than some people originally thought. Jets versus Cowboys. Jets not cleared for takeoff. A lot of people want to blame Zach Wilson in this game based off, the stats. And yes, they're not ideal stats, but and yes, 3 picks are not great, but all those came when the game was already out of hand. The Jets as a team play bad. The Cowboys moved the ball with ease on a supposed top 5 Jets defense. The Jets offense had no running game whatsoever, and they abandoned it. And then, Wilson had more rushing yards than Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook, and Michael Carter combined. Also, the offensive line played bad. Now, this is a great Cowboys team, but the Jets have to show next week against a division rival Patriots at home, who have some issues of their own, that they can be better, or else, it ain't going to be good. Commanders versus Broncos. Washington commands the Broncos defense. Well, at least this loss for Denver can't 100% be on Russell Wilson, although in 2 game sample size, he's great in the first half, but then the second half he keeps on fading off, which is not great, considering how much he's going to get paid. But the Broncos defense they were supposed to be like a top 5-10 defense. They were supposed to be good, but last year and then obviously this year, in opinion, the defense has not been good at all. And if this defense can't play like a top 10 defense, then consider the season for Denver over already. Dolphins versus Patriots. Tua is still undefeated against Bill Belichick. Tua is now 5-0 against Belichick. The Patriots, as expected, were not going to give up too many big plays to Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle. But Miami expected that, and they decided to run the ball, and they were able to do that good for 145 yards and 2 touchdowns. The run game was somewhat a question mark coming to end this season for Miami because, Mostert's not like a Nick Chubb or Saquon Barkley and all that. But the Dolphins can run the ball well. And when they're running the ball well, they're a super hard team to stop. Okay, now we got some 2 Monday Night Football games. The Saints versus Panthers. My reaction, the Saints are off and running. Remember, Kamara is still suspended. Their 3rd-round draft pick, Kendra Miller from TCU, is still hurt. So Jamal Williams, was doing just fine. But in the first half, he injured his hamstring. And the Saints got, most of the rush yards from Taysom Hill, as you would expect that. But where were the other said rush yards going to come from? Because you need to be honest, have a running back run the ball, in order to keep the defense honest and have some success in the passing game. Well, it came from fourth-string quarterback Derrick Jones Jr., who got elevated from the practice squad and had himself a game with 2 touchdowns. So if the Saints can just, despite all the running backs, injuries, and all that, they can continue to run the ball well, then their offense, is good enough. It'll be just fine. And last but not least, Browns versus Steelers. No, Chubby, no. In the second quarter, Nick Chubb sustained a devastating knee injury, and it will keep him out for the whole season. This means the Browns are going to have a harder time of making the playoffs since Deshaun Watson is still clearly not his old self anymore. If I'm the Browns, I guess you got to make up with Kareem Hunt and get him back to salvage the season, in my opinion, but we'll see. Thank you very much for listening to my podcast today. Please subscribe to my channel, About Me. On Thursday, I'll be going over my NFL Week 3 predictions and college football Week 4 predictions. Thank you very much. You have a wonderful day.